Well, so yeah, tell me, Sean, what was going on in your life, if it's okay with you to share this. What was happening before you came to the Union Gospel Mission?
we were actually trying to find an apartment. We got separated in 2000 in December, last year December. Um, it's been hard. We've been married about a year. Our son was born 2 months after we got married. I never thought that I would get married and have a family. I wanted one, but I didn't think that God was going to bless me with that. So I never prepared my life to take care of anybody but myself. And trying to provide for a family was harder than I ever imagined. And um, I wasn't equipped to cope with the challenges and the struggles of that.
What made it hard?
Well, not making enough money, not knowing how to communicate with my wife, that I was scared. I didn't know how to do this, and then and not even realizing how much of my past was affecting my life today.
Mm-hmm.
Coming here, I realized when I stopped growing, when I stopped learning, um, not only in school but like in my mind mentally, I shut down. I'm not sure what grade you guys are in, but I shut down around the eighth grade. I stopped feeling. I was tired of being hurt. I was scared of always getting hurt, and I shut down emotionally. I turned away from love. I turned away from God. So I stopped growing and learning how to communicate. Not only learning in school, but how to communicate effectively and in a positive way and not being violent, and so I couldn't handle it. And my wife, like, she tried to help me, but I couldn't communicate. I was afraid to. And I didn't know even that all the drug abuse and alcohol abuse, even though I've been clean and sober for like 3 years, I didn't even know that I was still battling that dry addiction and dry relapsing. And what I learned here, that you can remove the substance abuse, but if you don't deal with the issues that caused you to turn to that in the first place, you'll always deal with that. The negativity, the stress, the violence, the anger, the rages, all of it. Like, I kept hitting a wall, and I didn't even know what I was hitting a wall. I didn't know what that was. So right before I came here, we were looking for an apartment. Like, we were this close to getting a place. And I didn't know, because I was relapsing in anger and I was pushing her away, that I was this close to losing my family. Because she had enough. We already tried. We've been trying. Because I was dealing with work, the pressure of everything, trying to find a place, couldn't find a place because of bad credit. It was falling apart and I didn't even know it.
So what ultimately happened then?
Well, we were just out looking for a place, and I was already spiraling. Like, the pressure of everything, needing to get her out of her parents' house, needing to find a place, getting declined every time. Like, I just was becoming more detached, disconnected from her. And the anger was coming back, the rages. And so the day that we went out and looked for an apartment, and I don't even know why we were arguing, but I got mad at her in front of our son, and she took him and left. And then I got kicked out of where I was staying at. I was staying with my spiritual parents, and we argued like twice or something at their home, and they had enough too.
So fast forward, since we probably need to forward a little bit. How did you find out about the UGM?
My sister, she lives in Spokane Valley, and she's been here for like a little over a year.
So you called your sister for help, or?
Well, to let her know
Yeah.
what was going on. My wife, when she left, she wasn't talking to me for like 2 weeks. And I tried, like, I feel like God allowed me one last chance to try this on my own. I was in 3 outpatient treatment with 3 different counselors 3 times a week. And it didn't work. Like, I needed time and space to learn these skills and practice them without having to apply them in real life, if that makes sense. Like, I failed miserably because of that.
Why did you use drugs in the first place?
I didn't know you were gonna ask that.
You don't have to answer that.
No, acceptance is hard because I just realized this this week in my counseling, my one-on-one session. I just wanted to be cool. I wanted to fit in.
What would you tell these girls if they're at school, or if somebody offers them drugs or invites them to a party, and they have a chance to be with some really cool people who are offering them drugs? What would you say to them?
Don't do it. Think about your future. Think about your kids. I didn't even do hard drugs. I did alcohol and weed. But I didn't know it was gonna affect everything. I didn't know when I turned away from love that I was turning away from God, and that the devil had a hidden deal for me: anger, resentment, bitterness, hatred, violence, destruction. And I thought I was just having a good time and partying away the feelings and trying to be numb.
So it was good for a little while.
It wasn't good at all. Not at all.
Yeah. So what do you want to accomplish by being here at the mission?
I don't want to miss out on what God has for my life. This all can't be for nothing, man. I don't want my son to grow up without me being there. I don't want my wife to have to go and struggle to take care of our son. I want God's best, and I just want a better life.
So these guys came because they want to help people like yourself. What do you think of that?
I think that's awesome. Serving is one of the best things you can do. I've served a lot. Like, if you look at my story, it doesn't even make sense. But serving does something. And like, you guys have a chance to be a ray of sunshine when you come into a place like this. People are lost, they're broken, they're hurt. They don't have hope.
Yeah.
And a smiling face makes us, like, I see it when there's a group of volunteers, servers that come in. Like, I can feel the difference within the guys here. You know, and sometimes we go through so much, we don't even feel like we're human anymore. You know?
So if you could say one thing for them to help them understand guys like you or yourself, what would you want them to know?
That we are all God's children. He loves all of us. And we have to take care of each other. You guys are a younger generation. You don't want to grow up and become a part of the generation where there's a division between everybody else and the people that are lost and broken and in addiction. It wasn't all their fault. Like, you know, Jesus loved those people. And
Sometimes there's a bias against homeless people because they're using drugs and people judge them for that. What would you say to that?
that they're human too. You don't know their story. You don't know their story. Don't don't be judgmental. Look where I'm at. I was just trying to find a place for my family 4 months ago, and it got so bad. Like my wife reached out when she spoke to my sister. She had enough. Inpatient treatment was the only thing that was going to work. And finally, God opened my heart to receive that, and He told me to just trust Him. But it can just happen just like that. A few things going wrong, and then what? You know what I mean? Like,
So if you could describe where you were when you walked through the door that first day versus where you're at now, how would you describe that? And I know it's early, so it's not a lot of time, but
you know, but God doesn't need a lot of time. I was broken. I was lost. I didn't know how it happened. How did I get here? How did it happen so fast? Like, I volunteer in homeless shelters back home. You know what I mean? Like, how did I end up over here? Like, man. But after she left and I tried to fix everything, God shut every door. This is the only one that opened.
you feel like God wants you here, Sean?
Yeah, I know He does. I know He does. I've never felt so much brokenness, loneliness, and fear, but I've never felt closer to Him either. And if we don't break the chains of the generational curses and everything that's been passed down to us, the things that we've been through, our kids are gonna have to go through this. They're gonna fight these same battles.
Yeah. So what do you have to look forward to, do you think? What do you want to be looking forward to?
Well, short term, they're coming out for Christmas. My boy just started walking. He's running all over the place. He keeps calling for me. I'm excited to wrestle with him in the snow. I'm excited for a life of hope and being able to share that and spread that with everyone that He wants us to. You know, I just want to share something really quickly. I just realized last week at our men's retreat what my purpose is. And I believe it applies to everybody. And it's simple. Love God, love others, surrender to Him, follow Him, and obey Him. Share that with my family and teach that to them. And anything else that He has me do are just assignments from Him. And then I asked, like, well, why did I put so much pressure on myself trying to find out my purpose here?
So if
It was
he's-
because I lost my identity. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know that just being his son is more than good enough for me.
hard to remember that.
It is when you can't even accept that. You know what I mean? Like,
So if these gals were going to pray for you and your wife and your son, what would you ask them to pray for you about?
that we remain steadfast in God's presence, that we can endure this journey, and that God will restore our family and reconcile us.
Would it be okay for you to give us their first name?
Yeah, my wife's name is Kiana, and our son's name is Phil.
Phil.
Yeah, Phil.
And this is Sean.
Yeah, that's my middle name.
Sean is, Phil is Sean?
Sean
Sean
Phillip.
Phil.
And that's after my dad.
All right. Well, we could spend a long time talking to you, but why don't we wrap it up there, okay? So I'd like to pray for Sean, okay? Is that all right with you? Lord, thanks for bringing Sean through the doors of the Union Gospel Mission. And I thank you for his heart to restore his family. I know there's not a lot of men who are willing to do the hard work like he is. So I pray that you would bless him, Lord, I thank you that he has a heart for you and a heart for his son and his wife. So we pray for restoration in that family. And first of all, I just pray for restoration of Sean, that he would understand the things that are driving his addiction and his anger and the things that he's wrestling with. So bless him tonight for sharing his story with us, and I just pray that the future would be full of Christ in his life and you leading the way. So thanks for these gals who could be with us to hear his story, and I pray you bless them also. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.